Hi everybody, it's Christina from Card Making Magic. Today we're going to make some shaker cards, and these have a central panel that you can put beads or sequins in to make the shaker part. Now you don't have to make it just from a square or a shape as this one is. You can cut out part of the image that you're using. For instance, you could remove the box that the girl is sat on, take the bottom out of the hippopotamus, cut out the snowball and make that into a shaker part, take the football out, sit the boy on the shaker element, or remove the heart from the funky fairy. There's lots of different ways you can do it. Now this has been made as a portrait, this is landscape view, and this one is an easel card. So these are the colours I'm going to make my card in. I thought I would use a nice pale pink and lavender with some green. I'm just using an A4 card folded in half, and I'm sticking to the same colour schemes with the gemstones. So we've got green, lilac and pink. So I've cut a panel that will fit the front of the card, and I've matted and layered some lilac and green which will fit on the pink striped panel, just leaving a small border. I'm not fitting these to the base card yet. I'm just going to glue these together, and then using some double-sided tape I'm just going to add some ribbon around the edge. So from the lilac card I've used spellbinders and I've cut myself a frame, and from one of the papers using the same size spellbinder I've cut myself a backing, and this is going to sit under the framework, but not yet, so don't glue it in place yet. So this is what we have so far. Now once you've got your frame cut, if you use your double-sided tape, and there's 3 different widths here, so you'll need to use whichever one fits your framework, you're going to add double-sided tape around the outside edge of your frame, and then you can add your acetate. So once your acetate has been pressed into place, you'll need your shaker tape. Now my shaker tape is too wide for the long pieces, so I've very carefully divided it in half, because you're going to need now to add this to the panels, just to the framework. So we'll use the other side of the long piece. Now you're trying to avoid the actual panel itself, but you need to make sure that there are no gaps within that shaker tape. Okay, so once you've done that and there are no gaps in it, because all your little sequins or your beads will fall out, you can now go ahead and fill that with your sequins. Now I've added a double layer of shaker tape to mine because mine wasn't deep enough, and then once you've got to that stage you can now either add your sequins in there and then remove the tape, or you can remove the tape first and then add your sequins. But you want to make sure that your beads or your sequins don't stick to your tape. If you put the sequins in first and then take the tape off, mind you don't flick your beads everywhere as you're doing it. So I'm just going to add some sequins in there. Now you don't want so many that they won't move, but you don't want so few that they don't show. And I'm now just going to remove this shaker tape, the backing of it. And my fingers are stuck to it. Okay, so we'll just add a little few more. Now once you've done that, take your backing piece and put the right side down to the beads, and you need to just add it in place, lining it up with the rest of your card. Press it down, and there is your shaker box. So now for me, I've decided to stamp an image, colour her in and cut the child out, rather than remove part of an image. So once I've done that, she's another part now that will go onto the shaker element. I've stamped and cut out an image, a sentiment, using a spellbinder, but the next size up of spellbinder is too big. So what I've done is I've taken the same size spellbinder and I have drawn around the outside edge, because the cutting edge is just there. So now, once I've cut that out, I now have a little backing that is just slightly smaller than my sentiment. So now we have all the elements that we need to make the card. So what I'm going to do is just add this panel to the front of the card using a wet glue. And also with the wet glue, I'm going to add the shaker element to the card. Okay, place it in the position that you want it to sit on your card. So I think we'll have it about there. Okay, press it down. And now with the little girl, I'm just going to curl it slightly, just to give a little bit of shape to the body. And with this you can either use foam pads or shaker tape, but I'm going to use some pin flare. So just add some pin flare onto the child and then allow her to sit just on the edge of the framework. There she is. So I've added some shaker tape to the back of the sentiment, and I'm now going to add this to the card wherever I think it would look great. So then we'll place it there. And I've decided to use some lilac and pink flowers on the card itself. And if you want to curl the stems, you either need a cocktail stick or a barbecue stick, and just wrap your stems around. And then when you slide the stick off, you now have the curled stems. So punched out some leaves from a little punch that I have, and now I need to decide where on the card I want to place them. So I'm just going to add a blob of pin flare, and I'm going to start adding some of the embellishments. In the lower left corner, and I'm just going to finish the card off with some little gemstones. So I'm sticking to the colour scheme that I've decided on, which is lilac, pink and green, and I'm going to use a large stone from each of the colours, and I'm just going to add them to the card. And I think we'll add some more along here. We'll have a lilac, a pink and a green. Now I may decide to add a bow, but at the moment I think that's quite a pretty card. The same grosgrain ribbon, I have made a little bow and added it to the card, but I've also printed out another sheet of paper, and I've folded it in half. I've added double-sided tape to the spine edge of the card, and I'm going to put this in so that it faces the front. Okay, make sure it's in a central position, press your card closed, and now when you open the card, the lining opens with it. So there you have a very pretty shaker card. Now this corner in the card looked a little bit bare to me, so I've just added some more of the pink and lilac flowers to the top right of the corner of the card. So once you get more confident making the shaker cards, you can of course make the frame, or as I said before, you can cut out elements of your image to make the shaker element. You can also adapt it to any style of card, and this one is an easel card.